In this particular video, I will discuss about file handling in Python. So file handling is a mechanism by which we can read the data of the disk files in Python program or write back the data from the Python program to the disk files. So here we have a Python program, and the particular file is located in the secondary memory, or you can say disk. So Python programs can access this particular file. So we call it as a write operation when something is written to the particular file. So we can call it as a write. If we read from the particular file, then it is called as the read operation. So data files. So it contains the data pertaining to the specific applications for the later use. The data files can be stored in two ways. So we have a text file and binary file. What are the examples for the text file? So for example, we have MS Word, we have a PPTs, PowerPoint presentations, and we have a MS Excel. So all these are nothing but the text files. What are binary files? For example, binary files are nothing but the exe files, executable files, all C programming after compilation. So they will be converted to the exe file. Text file stores the information in ASCII or Unicode characters. So it is stored in a ASCII or Unicode character. For example, the capital A is stored as a 65. The small a is stored as a 97. Like that, we have storing the particular information in a coding format. So that is called as ASCII character or Unicode character. So in text files, everything will be stored as a character. For example, if the data is a computer, so it will take 8 bytes of data. So computer takes almost 8 bytes of data. If the data is floating value, so it is stored in some different format. So that will take around 10 bytes. So in text file, each line is terminated by a special character called as UL. So always remember that have the text file. This is line number 1. So we have a backslash in here. That is nothing but the end of the line. So this backslash n is used to identify the end of the line here. So either it can be backslash n or it can be backslash r, or it can be combination of the both. So what are binary files? So binary files has zeros and ones format. There is no need of translation when we are trying to read or when we are trying to write. So mainly the exe files, .exe files are the example for the binary files. So what are the steps in data file handling? So first is like opening the file. So whatever file is there, we have to open the particular file. So we have open file here. Performing the read and write operation. So the second step is like we have to perform the either read or write for which the file is open. Various functions are available, and closing the file. So first is opening. The second is performing either read or write. The third is like closing the file. So these are the 3 steps that are involved. So what is how to open the particular file? Open the file name. So we have to give the name of the file here, and again it will return some file handler. So using this file handler, we can go for a read or write. So you can specify the mode, whether you want to open in a write or read or append mode. So by default mode is nothing but the read. So by default, if you don't specify anything, that will be the read operation. So here the disk file story.txt is loaded into the memory and reference is linked to the myfile object. Now Python program will access story.txt using myfile object. Already I have told the name of the file is here. So what it is going to return is nothing but the handler, and using this handler we can read or write. Okay. So you can specify the mode also, what mode you want to open. So you can make use of either single quotes or double quotes. So double quotes are better, and Python always in Python makes use of the double quotes to escape any type of special character that you are having. So if you don't want to have any special meaning, so you can have R. So this backslash, suppose there is a n here, it is not going to be interpreted as a new line. So that will be taken as a normal particular file name. Okay. So this is how to open the file. Either you can make use of double quotes or you can make use of a single quotes. So coming to the different modes here. So we have a read mode. How to open this here. So we have a read mode for R, and RB stands for the binary file mode, and here W stands for the text file mode, WB stands for the binary mode. So A stands for the append mode, AB stands for the append mode. So like this we have a different type of text files, R plus, W plus, A plus. So R plus also stands for the read and write both. W plus read and write both. A plus stands for the read and write in append mode. So that is nothing but the append mode. So closing the file, how to close the particular file? My file dot close. So this is going to close the particular file here. So a reference of this file is stored in the file handler. So that you can close, we must call the close function through which the file handler and release the particular file. So close must be called through the file handler. So what is the reading from the file? File handling dot read n number of characters. You want to read 5 characters, you should specify 5, then it will read the 5 characters. What this read line n will stands for? You want to read the 5 lines, okay, from the whole line. Instead of reading whole line, you want to read only 5 bytes. So by default, it is going to read all whole line, but you want to read only 5 bytes. You can make use of read line and 5 here. What does this read lines is going to read all the lines of the file and return them to the list. So you have a big file, all the lines are read, and that will be stored in the list. And you can make use of the list to extract. You can make use of the for loop to extract the contents. Okay, you can extract the contents like this. We can do. So the same thing is given over here. Here we are trying to read only 10 bytes. Okay, only first 10 bytes are read. After reading, the file pointer moves somewhere here. Okay. What is the next here? It's a Y. Okay, so Y is read. After this, we are reading 5 bytes. So after Y, whatever 5 bytes are there, next is going to read this. And file pointer comes somewhere here. And the third thing is read. So read all the contents of the file. So file pointer moves like this. First 10 characters are read. After that, it will goes to 5 characters. Again, we are going to read the entire file. So using the read function. So here, the same thing is being given over here. The first, we have a read function. It reads whole file. Okay. The second contents are empty because you are going to read the entire file here in the first case. So we are going to read entire file. And what about this? It returns empty because the file pointer comes here. Therefore, we are not able to read the contents here. That is nothing but the empty. So the output of the second read is empty here. Okay, it's an empty, and here also it is empty. So we have a read line function which is going to read the entire line, the first read line. So first time we are going to read the first line is going to be read. It's the first line. Okay, this thing, and the second line, this one, and third is. So you can see that the first line is printed here, the second line is printed here, and the third line is printed over here. So you can make use of the while loop also, while str. So keep on reading until the end of the file is encountered. So here we have end of the line here. So keep on reading this, okay, till empty. It returns empty. So when it returns empty, then it is going to end of the file here. So like this, we are going to read all these contents using the read line function, and we are going to print this. And after this, when all the contents are read, we have to close the file. Okay. So here also the same thing. We are going to read using the for loop for str in my file. So this is the my file. So read the character by character and printing them. Okay. So like this, we print all the file using the for loop. So making use of the for loop here. So we are not going to read any operation. We are not making use of any read function. We are just using the for loop. So calculating the size. So you can calculate the size of the file. So how to calculate the size? So total size plus length of the str. Go on reading this particular file. Line by line, we try to see the length. What is the total number size here? And what about the strip function, which will remove the space, okay, from the whatever trailing white space or the end of the line is there. So there is end of the line here, and there is end of the line here, and there is end of the line here. All these characters are removed. Okay, so it comes to around 188. And what about the total number of lines? Here the want to print line by line. Okay, so my lines, my file dot read lines, print the contents. All the contents are printed. What is the first line? Contents of 0. So this is contents of 0 stand for the first line, and here file contents of length of contents minus 1 minus file length of contents minus 1. So this is give the last line. This will give the first line, and this is going to give the last line. So what is the length of the string here? It is a 191. Size of this is nothing but 191. And here how many number of lines are there? So that we are going to print. Okay, three lines are there. So this is how we print the total size in the bytes as well as the number of lines in the file. Writing the into the files. You want to write something into the file, we can make use of the write function, or you can go for a write lines function. File handle dot write of str1. So what is str1? The string that we are going to write lines. What is the use of this write lines? We are going to write whole lines, means more than one line. Okay, so here it is a list. So suppose a list contains 3 items like Goa, and second you can say like Mumbai and Chennai. Like this, we have three cities. Okay, Bangalore. So like this, you have list, and you want to write it using the write lines. You can make use of the write lines. You can pass this particular list. So this will write to the whole file. Input function that we are going to use, enter the name of the store, whatever store you want, you can enter here. Write out the name. So whatever the name you want, you can write the name, first name, the second name, and the third name. Like this, we are going to write the names and close the particular file. So here we are making use of the for loop, and we are entering the three people names. Okay, three people names, or three store names. So now what happens if you try to run with the different outputs? The previous contents will be overwritten because we have opened this file in a write mode. Therefore, it is going to be overwritten. The previous file contents will be overwritten. So in append mode, if you open in the append mode, the previous contents will not be overwritten. So these are the previous contents. Now the new contents will be added. So this is in the append mode. So this is in the append mode because we are not going to erase the contents of the file here. We are going to append the contents to the file. So this is how it is using the write lines command. So what about the write lines here? We have you have to enter the employee names, append dot name. So here we want to write more than one line. So we can go for append operation, the name, and we store it in the list here. So we have taken empty list. We have taken empty list, and we are trying to append the name, and further we are trying to write lines. Using write lines, we are going to write, okay, my file dot write lines, because write lines means going to write more than one line. Okay, and we are going to close the file, data saved. So the same thing, we are trying to take the input, more than one input, and see every time it is appended. We are not using it in a read mode, so it is an append mode. So every time you enter new output, every time it is going to be appended to the particular file. So how to copy the contents of one file to the another file? You want to copy the contents from one file to another file using the read line here. Okay, on dot read line. So dot write str1. So str1, you are going to write it to the new file. Opening first file in the read mode, second file in the write mode, and we are trying to read the contents of the first line, and we are going to write it to the second file. So like this, we close the first file and we close the second file. Finally, we are going to display the message like copied successfully. So we copied the contents from the file 1 to file 2. This is file 2. So this is copied exactly the copy operation. So flush function. So what happens is like we have a particular file here, and Python program. We have this Python program which we have written the source code, and This is the file that we are going to write. So all the contents are not written immediately. They are stored in the buffer. When you close the particular file, then the contents will be written to this particular file. So immediately there is no writing the contents to the file. It will be stored in the buffer. After some period of time, after you close the particular file, then only it is going to be written. So in order to uh, avoid this, we can use the flush that will write immediately the contents of the buffer to the file. So that we can use. The flush contents will automatically push the contents from the buffer to the file. So it is going to push the contents from the buffer to the file immediately. When you use the flush, it will do it. So this is what it is given here. So without using flush, you not use any flush, the contents are empty. But only it is written when you close. When you close, then only it is be written. So flush is executed, but when you close the file, then only it is executed. Okay. So here working of the flush. Press any key. So now we have used the flush here. Okay. Now we have used the flush. Then what happens is like the contents will be written immediately when you use the flush. Immediately when you use the flush, then the contents will be written. And when you say press any key, then it will be disappearing. Like this contents will go. Then we can say that there is a write operation. Go to the counter. That will be written here. It is not going to be overwritten. But when you use the flush, immediately the contents will be written to the file. Removing the white space after reading and writing. So you want to remove the white space, you can make use of the strip function, or you can go for L strip or R strip, which will remove all the given characters from both ends. If you want to remove from the left end, if you want to remove from the right end. So here it is given here length of you open this particular file, length of the line. What is the length of the particular line? So that we are going to display 15. And when you make use of R strip, so we will remove the backslash in here. That will be the end of the line here to identify the end of the line. So it goes to 14. Again, we are going to read the display the length of the second line, and we are going to go for one more strip. So that is nothing but R strip. Okay, so you can see that considerably the length is reduced here, and at the type of L strip, all the left characters will be disappearing. So this will white space will disappear, and here the from 25 it is going to 19. So like this we can use the R strip to remove all the trailing white spaces as well as the end of the line character. The file pointer maintains a file, every file maintains a file pointer which tells the current position in the file where reading and writing operation will take place. So when you perform any read and write operation, two things will happen. The operation at the current position of the file pointer advances by the specific number of bytes here. So I can say that when you are trying to read the particular file, it is stored here. So after you read one character, so it will go to here. Okay, it will go to here after you read the first character. So what are the different file modes? So here it is the beginning of the file. Here it is at the beginning of the file, file mode, and here at the right mode also it is beginning of the file. So append mode at the end of the file. Okay. So it will be at the beginning when you are trying to read and write. For append mode, it will be at the end. Okay. So standard input, output, and error stream. So what is the standard input? The keyboard. What is the standard output? Monitor. What is the standard error? Monitor. So standard input device STDIN reads from the keyboard here. So it reads from the keyboard. Standard output device displays the output onto the monitor. It displays the output onto the monitor. What is standard error device? Same as STD out, but normally for errors, to display only for errors. So here you can see that we are reading the particular file, but we are not writing to the file here. So here we are using STD out and STD error. So here we are going to read the first line. We are going to read the second line. So here we are going to write to the monitor directly. STD stands for the monitor. We are going to write it to the monitor here. And here also we are going to write it to the monitor. Here also STDR is error message that you are going to write it to the monitor. So this is what the STD in and STD out. Okay. So with statement. So another thing is like we are making use of the with statement with the open file mode, whatever mode you want to specify as a file handle, and file manipulation statements. So advantages with this, it will automatically close the files after nested block of code. So no need of closing the particular file. Automatically the file is closed, and it guarantees to close the file how the nested blocks exist, even if the runtime error occurs. So even if there is any runtime errors, it will automatically close the particular file. Okay. So this is the use of the with statement, and here it is given here. Open the particular file in the write mode as mf.write. Welcome to file handling. So here it is going to display as a welcome to file handler. So absolute versus relative path. What is absolute path? For example, if you have a file like y, so here y.py is a file. So here we have a C drive. Under this we have a x file, and we have tried to have a y.py. So this y.py can be accessed from the root, or if we are in the current directory, we can directly access. There is no need of specifying the full path. So if you specify full path, so that is called as absolute. What is the relative path? With respect to your current directory that you are working, you can directly access, because here it is stored in the current directory. So no need of specifying it from the root. So that is called as the relative path. Okay. So these are the particular files. Our hard disk is logically divided into many parts, drives like C drive, D drive, etc. The drive is the main container in which we put everything to store. So we can specify the drives, C drive, D drive. Drive is known as a root directory. Drive contains the folder and files. Folder contains the subfolders of the files. Files are actual data containers. So absolute versus relative path. So here it is given like you want to access a C drive. Okay. Sales 2018 revenue.txt. So this can specify like this. Okay. What is absolute path? Production, Noida, and section 12.2. These two files we are trying to access by specifying the root folder. By using the root folder, we are doing this. Okay. What is the relative path? If you specify a dot using dot, a single dot, or you can mix up a double dot, or you can use the first backslash, or so you can use a dot slash or dot double slash. So this specifies the current directory from the current directory, or this specifies from the root. Okay, this specifies from the root. So using this current directory, you can access like dot slash 2019 slash xls sheet.xls. Directly you can access using the current. If you are working here in the sales, okay, in the sales, so then you can directly use dot slash 2019 sheet.xls. So in this way you can directly access this particular file. Or one more way is like here if you are located here, then you can see double dot means the parent directory, and then in that we can go for a Noida, and here we can go for the sheet8.xls. Like this we can access the relative mode, relative addressing. So you can get what is your current working directory that you can get, and you can print this. Okay, so this is what I have discussed in this video. If you like this video, subscribe to this particular channel. Thanks for watching this video.